Is that what I see? A person who wants to get over 35 on their ACT and get non-study related tips that will help them achieve their maximum test potential. Hey guys, I'm Kala, welcome to my channel. So if you clicked on this video, I'm going to make the assumption that you want to maximize your testing potential and you want to score as well as you can on the ACT. And you also want new fresh tips that you haven't heard like a billion times. If that's you, you've come to the right channel. I'm going to be sharing 6 of my best and non-academic, like non-section specific tips that will help you maximize your testing potential. And you can apply these tips as far as several months before the test to 2 weeks before the test to a day before the test. So without further ado, let's get right on into the video. Hey guys, I'm editing right now and I realized I didn't say my scores. So these tips help me get a 34 composite on my first and then a 35 composite on my second. First tip, have a mistake spreadsheet. Make 5 sections, the 4 ACT sections, and a composite score section if you'd like. Every time you take a practice test, write down your mistakes. So write down the date you took the test or did the practice problem and made that mistake, the form number, the type of question you got wrong. So in English, this could include comma use or vocabulary. In math, it could be you forgot the slope equation. And reading, it could be you read the passage wrong or you couldn't get the main point of the passage. And for science, it can be like data interpretation, a math skill, or, whatever category you feel like you need to classify the mistake into. And then you'll want to mark whether it was a mistake or guess. So obviously a mistake is you read the question wrong, you misread the passage, and you just thought you got it right, but you just didn't. And a guess would include an educated guess. Mark it down because this really helps to know whether it's a topic you actually need to really study. If it was like a guess, but if it was a mistake, then you can just make sure to change your approach when you approach the problem so you don't make that same mistake. And you'll want to review this mistake spreadsheet before every practice test you take and leading up to the ACT, so you know exactly what to look out for. Something else I like to do is to have a separate column for my takeaways. I just type out reminders to myself. It doesn't have to be formal at all. Literally no one is going to look at the spreadsheet but you. So you can have reminders like, actually read the question. I've had to write that a couple times. Or use a semicolon only when connecting to independent sentences and actually read the graph. Just reminders and tips that when you look back at the spreadsheet, you'll know exactly what you're talking about and you'll know not to make those mistakes on future tests. My next tip actually has to do with sleep. Sleep is so important to your memory retention and being able to pull information from your brain. What I did 2 weeks before the ACT was I calculated how far the testing center was away from my home, what time I would need to wake up in order to have time to eat breakfast, do a couple practice problems, and just have a relaxing morning so I'm not, rushed trying to get to the ACT. And I figured out that if I want to get to the testing center by 7:45, I had to wake up at 5:30 because I had to leave at 7, so that gave me an hour 30 minutes. Because 9 hours is the optimal sleep duration for people my age. For 2 weeks, slept at 8:30 and woke up at 5:30. This really helped me get into the testing mindset and allowed me to get used to waking up at 5:30 and sleeping so early. So on test day, I had to wake up at 5:30. I felt perfectly fine. I was ready to go. And I remember talking to someone at the testing center about how they were so tired because they had to wake up so early. But because I had been waking up early for the past 2 weeks, it wasn't a problem for me. This is just, a tweak you can make in your everyday routine. You can go back to your old sleeping habits after the ACT. It's midnight here. For 2 weeks, if you can buckle down and get your sleep schedule to the optimal amount, you'll thank yourself on test day. It's so worth it. My next tip is breakfast. So breakfast has been proven to increase brain function, memory retention, all of that good stuff. I'll link sources down in the description below. And I also want to preface this by saying if you don't normally eat breakfast, I highly recommend to eat even like a small snack on the way to the testing center or right before you enter the center, because I guarantee that most of you will get hungry during the test and you usually don't get out for like 6 hours. If you're unlucky, it can take 5 to 6 hours to get through with the whole testing process. So one snack in the middle of a break isn't really enough food, in my opinion. So prior to the test, maybe a couple days before, make sure you have a breakfast that you can definitely eat. Maybe like a breakfast and a backup, because you don't always want to eat the breakfast you plan out the night before, the day of when you actually have to eat the breakfast. But make sure that the breakfast is like can sit in your stomach comfortably, gives you energy, makes you feel good, actually tastes good, and that it doesn't cause unnecessary bowel movements. You don't want to be in the bathroom. Definitely choose your breakfast out days before the test. You can even like eat the breakfast on your practice test day, so you can really get a feel of how your body reacts to the breakfast. My next tip, but it's just kind of a general studying tip, put the information that you need to memorize or reminders about taking the test in easy to see areas. So like in high volume areas that you travel to a lot. So for example, whether it's a math equation or read the passage before answering the questions. If you have a habit of like jumping into the questions, or write that down on like a sticky note and tape it to your bathroom mirror, your drawer, your bedside table, make it your phone background. You can also put it in the kitchen. I know that a kitchen is a place I go a lot, so when you go in those areas, you'll constantly see the same information. And once you feel like you've gotten that information in your brain, you can switch it out with new information. Next, this has to do with when you take practice tests. Imitate testing conditions to the best of your ability. For me, this included sitting in a quiet room alone. And if you're unable to test in almost near quiet conditions, find a room at your school that you can ask to test in, or you can put earbuds in, put classical music on, just anything to kind of drone out any background noise if you're unable to sit in a quiet environment. So obviously you won't have that music on the testing day, but just to imitate the testing conditions to the best of your ability with your personal circumstances. Another thing I like to do, I would use the watch that I used for the actual testing day to keep track of my time. So at first I would use my phone, set a timer, be like 35 minutes, and just wait for the alarm. But on testing day, you're not going to get your phone. You're not going to have a little alarm bell to go off for you. You're gonna have to either rely on the proctor or use a watch. So I ordered like a $13 watch from Amazon, with like a huge face, digital of course, because I cannot be wasting brain cells on trying to read a clock. And I would write down the starting and end times at the top of every page. And because we're in the COVID era, I would actually wear a mask, the like exact same reusable mask that I would wear for the ACT. And this is a very minor detail, but your testing center will likely be very cold. And if you wear glasses like me, and if you have a mask on, if you're wearing a disposable or a mask that has like an air pocket at the nose area, your glasses are gonna fog up. And trust me, it is so annoying. It doesn't obviously affect your ability to see drastically, but it is just annoying and like another thing your brain is like trying to fix, which you do not need. You need to eliminate all distractions. So wear a mask while taking a practice test. You can just get used to it, because although it doesn't affect your testing ability, it will just affect like your comfort levels, because most people aren't used to testing with a mask on. Also, only eat snacks in the designated breaks. Don't like drink your water in the middle of the math section, because in a real test you wouldn't be able to do that. So I guess that's like more of an extreme thing you can do, but definitely leading up to the test, maybe at least try one test adhering strictly to the test guidelines so you can get a real feel of the test. And make sure you're also wearing comfortable clothing. I found that wearing the exact same clothing during a practice test that I was going to wear on the test day really, again, just helped me get in the mindset. If I was wearing like pajamas or something, I would get out of my academic kind of mind. So I like to wear the exact same outfit, but that's just me. My final tip is to find what pre-test kind of hype up routine works best for you. So I like to think of this as pre-athletic game kind of routine. So some people like visualizing, being in a quiet room, visualizing what plays they're gonna do, and just sitting in silence, while others love to, get hype, listen to like really loud music, jump around, just get everyone excited for the game. So you're gonna do the same with the test. You're gonna find pre-test routine works best for you. For me, I found that that test visualizations before every practice test every morning for a week leading up to this test was really helpful because I was able to get my brain into testing mode. I, laid out the pencils in my mind exactly how I would lay them out of the test, and I imagined, myself feeling confident while taking the test. So for me, visualization and meditating, this was really helpful. And on test day, I listened to a hype playlist. So it was basically my pre-athletic game playlist. So that just got me really hype and excited for the test. But if you're someone that likes to be more chill, read a book or something, I also meditate in the morning, but just find what works best for you. And you can do this best through trial and error. And just if you're taking it during the school year, you can experiment with low-stake quizzes and tests at school. So on the ACT day, you know exactly what you're going to do for the morning of the ACT. So that was it for my 6 tips on maximizing your testing potential on ACT day. I really hope these helped, and I really think these tips are unique and they're not commonly known, I guess, among the ACT test taker community. So if you want to see more of these, comment down below and stay tuned for a video on specific sectional tips, including the ACT essay optional writing portion. I scored I'll talk more about it later, but my second writing score is pending. My first writing score, I got a 10 out of 12, which I'd say is pretty good, so I'll give you all tips in the other video regarding actual academic stuff. And if you're taking the ACT soon, good luck. You're going to do amazing. Bye.